In one of the interviews, you said that you would love to play live action version of Astarion.
Oh my god, yeah.
Do you have like a story in mind, or do you like?
I don't care. I don't play anything. I'll do a cameo in a D&D movie just for the fans. I don't give a shit. I'll play him in any way.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Behind the Voice. I'm joined by a very awesome guest, Neil Newbon, who has played Astarion in Baldur's Gate 3. Thank you so much for joining, taking the time, and it's just such an amazing time right now because Baldur's Gate 3 has been going crazy. So thank you so much for being here. Appreciate it.
No problem. Thanks for asking me in. Yeah, it's been a bit of a whirlwind over the last few weeks. It's been quite amazing, and we've had so many positive reviews and feedbacks from the community and critics alike. We had I think PC Gamer just gave us their highest rating for 16 years.
Yeah.
Like 97%, which is
Yeah.
insane. I'm curious as to what the 3% was about.
Yeah, it's not about 97. It's
really,
like
what was that 3%?
What did you do?
Yeah, I'm joking. It's like it's thrilling, and I respect a lot of a lot of the critics. I respected as a gamer myself, and I trust a lot of their opinions as well. So to have that from a powerhouse like PC Gamer is truly quite exceptional and really quite humbling, actually. I know I spoke to lots of the cast and the crew, and we've all been quite blown away by the attention and the warm and the beautiful reception from, like I said, from critics and fans alike. It's been quite overwhelming and very touching and very humbling.
Yeah.
As an actor, I mean, let's not forget, I'm on the narrative side essentially. I do some in-game mechanics as well, and I was consulting with them. I was directing with them as well. But really, largely, my stuff is focused on the narrative and the cinematics.
Yeah.
There's so many people. There's literally like almost 400 people, I think 500 people in Larian that have been working for years on this game to try and make it the best. And the amount of passion everybody has poured in to this game, including people like the QA testers and the marketing team, everybody has just been working so hard to make this the best possible experience for gamers and for players that they can. So it's been extraordinary.
Yeah.
A real blessing. Yeah, I'm really quite humbled by it.
Yeah, it has been insane. I cannot believe how the launch, especially the launch of the game, everybody was like waiting for it, and when the game came out, it just keeps on breaking records. I was like, what the? It was just growing up. I like now I think it's like 800 plus players like on Steam playing it. I was like, wow, that's insane.
Yeah, we were curious if it was going to top 900,000. I'm not sure. I haven't been keeping up with the player count on Steam alone, but I'd be curious to see whether it goes across 900,000. That'd be amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, and also we've got the PS5 release in 2 weeks as well. Yeah. So we're not even finished yet. It's still
just getting
an ongoing
started.
thing. So.
Yeah,
I just want to start it, which is great.
I love that. It's so amazing. So like when all of this was happening, when the sales numbers were coming up, and when the reviews were going so crazy, did you have someone like? Did you go out and some message to someone, or did you contact someone like, "Hey, this is happening. Like, this is crazy."
Yeah, sort of. I mean, the main party cast. There's 300 people in the cast. They're all incredible actors, amazing actors. But the main hardcore party, which is the origin party, and the three extra playable characters, or 4 extra player characters. I'm sorry. We have a WhatsApp group.
Oh wow.
Which I've dubbed the Wild Bunch. And that was purely to support each other and say, how you doing? You're okay? Yeah. We were all really nervous about it. So we started a WhatsApp group, somebody to check in with each other going, are you okay?
Yeah.
And so, and of course, with the origin characters and with the support and with the non-playable party members, also we have the amazing Amelia Tyler, who's the narrator, the dungeon master, essentially, of the whole thing, the voice of Larian in that way. So she's also a part of our group as well, obviously. So yeah, between all of us, we were talking together and just trying to be there for each other, because I think quite a lot. I was nervous. I was very nervous about the release, and not because I thought it was going to be bad, just because I really hoped people would get it and really dig it and really feel the passion from all these hundreds and hundreds of people that have gone into making this project over years. Just to really get the vibe of like how much we've just thrown everything at this amazing game. So it was cool. But yeah, we were all talking. We're like, oh my god, have you seen this? So it's been a really wonderful experience. Without losing our footing, I would say. All of us are very aware that we're just a small part of another cog in the machine of this production. So it's been with a lot of healthy grounding. But it has been wonderful to see it, and it's been great to talk to. And I know a lot of the devs and crew anyway, so it's been nice to talk to them. Pit Stop Productions, obviously, as well, who've been instrumental in the recordings. So it's been really great to speak to everybody. And Larian are amazing, man. They're such an amazing company. I'm really stoked to be a part of this. And Baldur's Gate 3 is a dream job. It really is.
Yeah, I've heard you say that like it's been a dream of yours to be in a game like this because you're a big massive fan of D&D. So like, what was it like when you first kind of found out like, hey, I'm gonna be a part of this game? What was your reaction at that point?
So when I first found out I was going to be part of this game, I actually worked out what game it was in the audition process, because I knew it was going to be either Icewind Dale or Baldur's Gate 3. So I knew that it was going to be one or the other, or maybe some wild new IP. But it was still going to be D&D. I realized it was going to be D&D very early on. So when I found that out, I think it was like we had 12 options of races that we could go up for. I submitted 10 or something like that. I wanted to play anything. I didn't care what I played in it. I could have been just like second goblin in Band of Goblins. I don't care. I'd play anything in this game. So then I got Astarion, which was a wonderful role, and I was very, very, very touched that the faith in me from Josh Whedon, from Jason Latino, was such that they thought I could play this role. And then after playing this role and thinking, oh, this is great, this is a lovely character, then being told he's actually a companion character really just blew my head apart. That was just that was something I hadn't predicted could possibly happen when I was auditioning. It was just like, get me in the game somehow. And then to find out that actually he's one of the main Origin party members, and it just kept on coming like that. It was just a gift after gift. Every time new scenes or new stories were developing, we were told, okay, now this is happening, this is where the arc's going, and this is what's happening to your character and what you're going to be doing. It was just mind-blowingly beautiful as an actor to be given all these amazing scripts and these opportunities. So I've just been on this amazing creative high for about 4 years, and I'm worried I'm going to crash a little bit hard when I have to finally actually let go of the fact that I'm no longer playing Astarion, which I haven't quite done yet.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine how, because you guys you played it for 4 years. Like there's an attachment to that, so I don't like it's hard to like even let go. So I'm just like really happy because you have done such a great job playing Astarion. There's a lot of fans, like people find you hot. People find you like love to interact.
They find the character hot.
They find the character. I would say both. I would go with both. No, but like people have been so fondly about this character, and they just want to protect Astarion as much as they can. That is just, I love to see people's reaction and stuff like that.
Or push him on to do even worse things, either way.
Or push him up,
So even split. Even be as naughty as you can, or look after him.
Actually, the evil thing that I first got to see from Astarion was when I'm in camp, and I think it's very early, and I think everybody knows, is we're in camp, and then he comes up sneaking and trying to bite me. And that was the part I was like, that's great, Astarion.
That was it was one of the early lines that I suddenly realized how much fun I was going to have with the character when he gets caught, and his initial reaction is not to try and cover. It's just shit. So that's it. It's like that's all he has. It's like, I have nothing for this moment. I just realized how fun this was going to be. What an experience this was going to be. So I was very, very lucky in that sense that I've been afforded a lot of play with this character, and that's down to Stephen Rooney, the writer, and also the writers generally, because they all obviously created this world with Swen. It's been really interesting being able to have a lot of fun and also deal with a lot of the heavyweight, very challenging at times in a good way creatively, storylines that we've been also offered up. We've had everything from really funny, near improvisational stuff in a way, to doing some really heavy hitting storylines that actually are quite meaningful and quite challenging creatively to be able to get right with the right tone. So it's been incredible, man. This job has been the perfect job. Yeah, really has.
Yeah, I love that. I know you mentioned somewhere that you had dialogues kind of improvised, as you mentioned, like improvisation here and there. So how was that? Like...
I wouldn't say dialogue was improvised. It was more like playing, really stretching where we could take it. So it wasn't improvisation. It was more like, here's the line, which is brilliant and well written, and we didn't really mess with it too much. But taking which direction the line was going to go in was quite wild. I think that's what I was really referring to, probably in a bad way. So yeah, sorry,
No.
carry on though.
Actually,
I interrupted you
I
there.
took it in the completely wrong way. But no, what I was trying to say is like, because especially as you mentioned, there's lines and you have to go in a certain way, and you guys played with it. How was that kind of like with the writer itself? Like, because you guys might have to change certain things, and after like how you wanted to go in a certain direction. How was that sort of playfulness in some ways? Was like with the director and writer?
Yeah, so with the writers are great, and they're also online the whole time that we're working.
Wow.
So whenever it's one of our, especially with the origin characters, whenever it was one of our sessions, the writers would be online and available. Because often you have a question and go, well, what does this mean, or what does that relate to this thing, or blah blah blah. So they would always be there, which was amazing actually to be able to have that kind of level of instant feedback.
Yeah.
That they would say, like for instance, my writer was largely Stephen Rooney, and so often there'll be small minor things that I wanted to like tinker a little bit, or can I say this in this way because I feel like Astarion would do, and he was always there to respond and be able to guide and help. But interestingly enough, you know, our takes on our characters, well, I can only speak for Astarion, so I don't know the other actors' experience. As positive as I know it was, I don't know what their interactions with their writers were. So just
Yeah.
from my experience, I know that I started doing lines in a very different way to how Stephen imagined them, but he liked it, obviously. And then he started writing to a rhythm that I was creating with my performance. So I would often find that these lines over the next, you know, the following weeks and stuff would have certain things that I was doing anyway that were sort of built into them more. So it was actually easier to access that. And in a way, we both kind of developed and found the character after he'd written it. We both sort of were still playing with the character and developing. Obviously, I was still pushing the character in many different ways, trying to really commit to the story, and he was then following my rhythm. I was then following his rhythm as well. So it was a really nice, beautiful symbiotic relationship that we had. And then I got to speak to him as well. So he and I became mates, and we've actually spoken a few times.
Wow.
I think I did a video for him.
Oh.
I think somebody asked me to do a song in Astarion's voice for him for his birthday, so I did. I can't remember what the song is now. You have to ask Stephen.
Wow.
But I'm pretty sure I did a video for him, yeah.
That'd be great.
As Astarion, which is hysterical. Yeah,
Actually, that'd
really
be
cool.
great to, you know, listen to a song in Astarion's voice. That'd be awesome. I think a lot of people would love it, actually.
I think I did a cameo. Somebody bought a cameo for him from me.
Wow.
I had to do it as Astarion, which is hysterical. Yeah, it's a little too messy, but it's very fun. Yeah. I mean, this is it. It's been a lot of fun. It's been hard work for everybody, in physically, I would say, and you know, in terms of stamina, voice control, that kind of stuff. But it's been wonderful. It's been like, it's joyous, and there's a lot of joy in this game for the performers, and I hope the devs as well. You know, a lot of people I've spoken to have just loved this experience. So we're very lucky, man. Very lucky.
Absolutely. I'm so glad that you guys had such a great time, because the fan base is growing. His fan base is insane. People constantly discover new things and you know, new ways of interact. Whether it's good or bad, that's up to them. But like, it's great fun. And you know, you mentioned about cameo, like somebody requesting you in a certain way. What are the things that people usually, like fans usually ask you from, like, is there something common that people always ask?
Yeah, well, I don't like the term fans, to be honest. Fans of the game, fans of the character, not fans of mine, because I find that uncomfortable. But people that really like the characters and the stories and stuff, they tend to ask for sometimes quite inappropriate things for Astarion to say, which is fine because it's Astarion, not me.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd be able to do that as me. I don't think I'd be comfortable doing that. But as Astarion, it's like just silly things like kind of taking the mickey out of them, or making them feel small, or put downs, or the inevitable flirty lines and things, which is fine, because that's who the character is. I think if somebody asked me, Neil Newbon, to do what, I probably would say thank you, but I'm not really comfortable doing that. Thanks so much. So it's nice to be able to hide behind him to do that kind of stuff. Nothing actually inappropriate, just treading the lines of good taste, I would say.
I think one of the best thing about Astarion is how I love the way, and you deliver it so well. I love the way when he says "darling." I just love it. I just like whenever.
Yeah, that was definitely something. Yeah, that was definitely something that became a thing. Initially, I think there was like one darling in the sentence, but because I started adding it here and there quite early on, that Stephen heard that, and then I think there was a few requests for me to add that in as well. And I think he then started using that as like a habitual thing from Astarion. So that became very much a thing out of me going, "Oh, hello, darling," all that kind of stuff. But I think he liked it so much, and I started requesting it a few times that it became part of his vernacular, which was kind of cool. So that was definitely something that was a development of the character, yeah. But it was nice. It's also because the word "darling," especially when you have a British accent, which he does, you can use it in so many different ways. You can use it as a flirtation, you can use it as a comfort, you can use it as a put down, you can use it sarcastically, you can use it as a patronization, you can use it as you can use it as a threat. I mean, it's a wonderful thing to be able to use a single word in 10 different ways. So yeah, it's definitely it sort of becomes a weapon of his, you know what I mean? It's like a verbal weapon.
Yeah.
So he's weaponized an affectionate term, which I think is very funny.
Yeah.
For him to do that, it's very British.
It's very British. Yeah, I think it's a weapon that.
Don't you think so too, darling? It's like that shit, Well, it's really funny. Yeah.
Oh my god, it's a weapon that not everybody expected. It's a hidden weapon, secret weapon that Astarion only uses. Love it. So cool, but...
darling.
Amazing. I think one of the scenes, and it's probably not exactly a spoiler, but like it's one of those moments where I feel like Astarion, I just love his funny moments, and it was not exactly like absolutely completely laughing, but I just love that because he is scared of clowns, which is like I loved some of his lines. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna fucking kill you. I was like, that's great.
It wasn't so much. I think I wasn't working so much on the fear of clowns. It was more of the disgust of clowns.
Yeah.
I think it was like this idea that the whole idea of audience participation for somebody that's been living in the shadows for 200 years, it just doesn't sit with it. He just finds it gauche and it's not for him. It's sort of beneath him a little bit. So the fact that he's put in that position I think he really means that. I think he really means that he's going to kill the player character for doing this. But it was just another great series of lines and opportunities to have lots of fun with the character, whilst in these moments of lightness before these heavier moments that come along and everything. So it was a real gift. But yeah, he's not afraid. He definitely hates them though. He definitely thinks they're very gauche and over the top and not very cool. So,
yeah, I think it's very uncomfortable.
Clowns.
It's very.
I mean, really, they're just glorified dolls, really, aren't they? Just prancing around, singing other people's tunes. Where they're so talented in that. Clowns. So yeah, like that.
Lovely. He's very uncomfortable, but I do think so. If he was
deeply uncomfortable, darling, deeply uncomfortable, darling.
Oh man.
Yes, not really an audience participation, not really a team player audience participation. Anyway, sort of poking, not doing.
Yeah. I think if it was a one-on-one situation, I think he would kill him, the clown. He would probably be.
Yeah, I think he would definitely kill him. Yeah, I think for sure. But there's too many witnesses, or rather, sorry, the audience.
Yeah.
So.
Oh man. Some people are just like, I remember one of my friends at least. I think the first time when you crash land, and then you go to the first actually even mission that you get to do. He was not even there yet. He was just doing some side mission and he just went somewhere else, and he was just playing for 30 minutes till he got to the goblin, to kill the goblins things. And I was like, wow, okay,
yeah.
You spent so much time.
Yeah, you can go really far off. I haven't even started a playthrough yet. I'm due to start a playthrough, I think, this Sunday. I'm going to attempt to start playing through it. Yeah, the only rule we have in my party is that Astarion must be in the party at all times as a companion.
Yeah, of course.
I'm not playing it. I'm not going to play him. But yeah, I mean, you can get sidetracked. You can play multiplayer, and I believe you can have two players just go off and do the entire story separately and then come back again. I mean, it's extraordinary, the technological feat they've done with this. I didn't even think that was possible. So there's also a lot of stuff that people have been finding out about the game that Larian didn't know you could do. That for me is wild. So if you want one thing is the owl from the top rope, I believe was somebody who's coined it, was because they put in gravity physics. Somebody worked out how to do something which basically kind of crits bosses in one hit. If you do it, it's very difficult to do it, but you can essentially do like a critical hit on a boss and just wipe them out with like 800 to 1,000 points of damage or something like that. And type in L off the top ropes, and you'll see L bear off the top ropes. Sorry, and you'll see what I mean. But they didn't know you could do that. So there's lots of things that people are finding out that Larian are going, oh, okay.
I guess that's
a
it.
testament to how good the game is. Yeah, it's amazing.
Wow, I love how people are able. People are just like gamers. Every time they're able to not exactly exploit, but explore so much that they're able to find things, and it's just amazing to see. It's amazing to see that one of these things was like something that the developer even didn't know was technically there. But you know, you've just done so much recording, 4 years of recording, and it must be so many things. Like, was there ever a point of like burnouts of some kind? Because obviously you've done so much to do. So was something, did you get to in that zone, or was it like all passion flowing through?
I think regardless of whether I burnt out or not, it was passion running through the whole time. I'm a workaholic. I like to work hard. I love what I do. I always leave my metaphorically and sometimes literally blood on the floor. But in terms of burnout, yeah, I definitely burnt physically. My voice and my body burnt out twice, I think, in 4 years. And both times it was just like I'd just been working so hard on this and other projects as well, but this was a huge one, that my body and my voice just gave out. I think the last time it happened wasn't too long ago, it was a few months ago, and I needed 2 days of rest, fully rest, not even speaking to people, not like doing anything. And then I came back into the studio, it was fine. So I'm lucky, I have a lot of stamina, and I have very high tolerance to work in that way. But yeah, even I burnt out, but it was not burning out in terms of spirit.
Yeah.
It was just a physical thing. And I think that's important to say that despite how hard we were working, despite how much we had to get through in a short space of time, the burnouts that I faced, certainly, I think other people did as well, it was purely physical. It wasn't a spiritual, a mental, emotional burnout. It was physical. It was just the levels of work were so high and demanding that inevitably at some point you're going to be knackered.
Yeah, I mean, it will have to happen, I guess.
I would say this though, I didn't have a bad day. I had 2 challenging days when I burnt out, but they weren't bad days. It was just me being disappointed in myself and having to call a session early or whatever, or having director support me and call a session early, which everybody supported, by the way. I was the only person who was upset about it. Everybody else was like, no, you need time off. I was like, no, Judas, buddy, no, why? So, so that was the amazing thing as well. There was never like, I felt awful that I had to quit halfway through a session because my body and my voice was just done. And I felt awful because I was wasting people's time. I felt like it was a bad thing that I did. Everybody else was like, dude, you need to rest. We want you to rest, And Pit Stop Productions were very supportive and good, saying, take 2 days off. We're canceling your sessions, rest. So it was, again, it was like, it wasn't bad. It was just, there's only so much the voice and body can do before you actually need to rest.
Yeah, that's right. It's like some things, even like you said, like workaholic. I tend to believe I'm not exactly, but I do know that I worked so much that there's times when I want to do something, but I'm just so tired that I just can't, or I'm not able to think or something like that. So like rest, I think, is something that is very much needed, even though a lot of people kind of, at least me, I know that I sometimes ignore it. Like, I'm gonna rest at night at once. So that's something I totally understand that, especially for voice actors. You guys do so much work physically and verbally, that you guys definitely need a lot of rest to like perform even better. I do know that in one of the interviews you said that you would love to play the live action version of Astarion.
Oh my god, yeah.
Is there something?
God,
do you have like a story in mind, or would you like to go back to like kind of the origin story?
I don't care. I'll play anything. I'll do a cameo in a D&D movie just for the fans. I don't give a shit. I'll play him in any way. I just like the character a lot, and I realize I can physically get away with looking kind of like him as well, which is good. So I don't care. I just want to play him again. The bottom line is I just want to play Astarion again. That's right. I haven't quite let go of the character, so I'd love to do him live action role play. That'd be amazing.
Oh, that would be great.
Or live action film or something.
Yeah, I think to be honest, you actually look. And I know I was speaking to, as I said, Deborah again.
Right. Well, thank you, darling. Yes, I think I rather do then. Take off the hair.
Yeah.
I got the fangs for it, you see.
Oh my god. Did you feel like you developed specifically for Astarion? Like, yep.
These are prosthetics, darling. I had them put in about a year ago. No, they're real. My real fangs. I think I reckon I get away with it as well. I think I do a good job.
That'd be great. Yeah, I think that'd be perfect at the same time. Yeah, it's lovely. But I think every single character has this. But I think I love that about Astarion. It's like you have multiple sides of it. You have a good version, sort of. You have also have the evil version at the same time. So you have to play both the sides at times. Like, what is that like? Because you're trying to go in a certain direction with like being a certain way, and then you also have to record in another version of it. So was there a challenge behind it, or was that sort of like an easier process as you guys went through it?
When we had to film every aspect of the character, it wasn't bad. It wasn't challenging. If anything, it was actually incredibly rewarding. Because usually, as you know, a non-branching, more traditional linear stories, there's a start, middle, and end. Whereas with branching narratives, as we all know, because it's been around for quite some time, and I've definitely done, this is my fourth or fifth branching narrative game, I think. What it does is it rewards the actor by giving you every possible combination and permutation of every situation, which means you get to play the character over and over and over and over again in every different possible iteration of the person and their story. For me as an actor, that's awesome because I get to play Astarion in every different possible way, as opposed to just the one thing. So I think that also really deepens the connection that an actor can have with a character, especially because it takes time to do that. Therefore, you're going to be with the character for usually a year or two, and in our case, 4 years, which means that your understanding of the character and your relationship with the character as an actor deepens and widens, and you become even more confident with how they are, and you get instinctively impulsive with many different things in different situations, to the point where you're not really engaging a huge amount of intellect after a certain amount of point, because it's in your body, it's in your instrument, and you just start playing like crazy. And so for me, it was wonderful. It was an amazing gift of a branching narrative game, because I realized I'm going to get to play him in every possible situation. Fundamentally, that also means the actor has to do their work. They have to have a good, strong foundation of who the character is. When they're developing the character, they need to be able to make sure that it's rooted into who the character is at all times. Whether that develops and grows and you get certain habits that you discover along the way, absolutely. But fundamentally, if your foundation isn't rock solid to begin with, like who is this person? What are their ultimate wants, needs, objectives, super objectives, etc.? If you have that right, then it's just incredible, because you can just, okay, now we're doing this, now we're doing this, now we're doing this. So you get to explore everything about them, which as an actor, I mean, I think it's a dream role for an actor, is to play the multiverse version of your character. Is a gift. It's extraordinary. Yeah, very cool.
I love that.
So yeah, not difficult, not bad. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, totally awesome.
Yeah, I actually love that when you have like multiple sides of the character, and you can experience those multiple sides. Like if you go in this route, he will behave in this way, and eventually if you go in a different route, he will eventually go in this way. And I love that there's a evil or whatever side of it, because it just makes it even more interesting, that character. And I love seeing those scenes, and it was such a great time.
It also follows the player's choices.
Yeah.
So you're woven into the player's story the whole time, because they're making the choice. They're help pushing you in one direction or the other, or by accident sometimes, or deliberately so. But essentially, you're still very much tied to their experience, which is great. So, yeah, from that point of view, it's a very cool experience as an actor, man.
Absolutely. There's just so many awesome characters and even actors in this game, like, who have played amazingly. I know Maggie Robertson is also part of this. Like, what was it like to to see her in the part of this game? You guys work together. Resident Evil.
It was great to see Maggie again in the game. She and I we became friends pretty much on day one of Resident Evil Village. I met her for the family scene of Resident Evil Village, and I just blown away by her talent. I just thought, you are absolutely extraordinary. We got speaking. I didn't speak to anybody properly until after we shot that scene.
Oh, wow.
Because I flew in late to Resident Evil Village. Everybody did a read through, which is quite normal. So it's my enormous foot just flying past camera.
Ooh,
what the hell was that? It was a massive foot just puns over. Sorry about that, folks. yeah, I didn't meet the Resident Evil family until after the read-through, the first day of shooting, because I was flying in from another job, and I landed like I think it was like 9 o'clock in the evening. They'd already had the read-through that day. I started filming the day afterwards, or a day and a half afterwards, or something. So I didn't meet any of the actors. Whether the actors were all just on the "Hi, how are you? I'm such and such." I didn't know anybody apart from Stephen Evely, the director, who's my friend.
Yeah.
So I got to meet their characters first, and then afterwards it was like "Little man thing." Oh, hi, I'm Maggie. It's like, okay, cool. So I got to see their characters first, which is really cool. Like Jesse Pimentel as well. I saw Moreau. I got to saw like everybody, Andy Norris, and all those kind of cats. It was really awesome to meet their characters first and then get to know them as people afterwards. But Maggie and I became mates from then. And when I knew that she was going to be on this, I was very lucky. I managed to come in for the day and hang out in her session, which was awesome. I knew she'd be brilliant. She's a terrific, amazing, BAFTA-nominated actor.
Oh yeah.
So an award-winning actor. Sorry, award-winning and BAFTA. Yeah, it was great to see her work because she's amazing in this role, and her accent is absolutely flawless. Her ability is flawless, and she's also a really cool human being. So, which is disgusting when you think about it, darling. She has almost no flaws. I'm trying to discover them so I can horribly manipulate her, but so far no luck. So far, she's clean as a whistle.
Oh man,
so disappointing.
So disappointing.
I don't think. Is the lighting okay? Because it is getting dark. I might flip the lights on if that's
Oh,
all
I
right.
think lighting is fine. Yeah, I don't think so. It's okay. I
All right,
it's perfectly great.
Plunge in darkness. So Maggie Robertson is an amazing actor, and I'm so glad for her success. And I look forward to our next game together, whatever that's going to be. Yeah.
That would be awesome because I actually got to know you from Resident Evil Village because even though Lady Dimitrescu was great, tall, and a lot of people wanted her, when I saw Karl Heisenberg, the voice made me so attentive. Like I was when he was in the scene.
You're a fan of the Heisenberg, are you? It's nice of you to say that, kid. Oh, clearly a man with taste. Okay, very good. Yeah, cool.
I love that. It was such like a character that I just was like, I enjoyed his presence every time, and I thought like he's one of those guys that I want. If I'm like kind of distracted, he brought my attention back. It was like I just love that like that character so much, and I know that even though the voice is sort of similar between in Karl and Astarion, but like how do you approach?
Yeah, it's actually transatlantic. It's not actually the same accent, and there's the similarity is sort of there's a little high inflection kind of, but his accent is more transatlantic with. It's Nicolas Cage, Jimmy Stewart, and Cary Grant all mixed into one. So there's a certain kind of high inflection in there, but they're kind of a little different. His is more gravelly, machine-like, and I kind of enjoyed the fact that they are quite dissimilar in some ways. Sorry, carry on. I think I interrupted you there.
Oh no, no problem. I mean, I was literally like kind of curious to know like how do you approach like these characters differently, and whenever you get a role or something like that, what sense do you have to approach a character in a different way so that it doesn't sort of match or is different as compared to the other character?
Yeah, well, one of them is accent. I try and not only accent but also rhythm of accent. So Karl Heisenberg, for instance, the Jimmy Stewart comes in here, and he got it all wrong. This sort of like hesitant, stumbling, very casual, very lackadaisical quality. Whereas Astarion is very on point. He doesn't stumble, and he doesn't usually. He might make a Freudian slip here and there, but he doesn't usually make mistakes, and he's very grammatically correct. And he's not casual or informal. In fact, during the sessions, I would often ask them to uncontract contractions. Like, as opposed to it would be it is, always for Astarion. That was a rule I had to, and that which they obviously I was allowed by the writer and director after I asked, because it was establishing his speech pattern. It is, as opposed to it's. It is so common. It is, Whereas Heisenberg, he's sort of a little lazy and. My middle army, he's down here and all this kind of stuff. So there was a lot of, so really the accent is a good place to start. physicality as well. I make sure that whatever my habits, which I know very well are, I try and get away from those habits as much as possible, and find their rhythm of movement, and then also the trappings. Also, that comes from the artwork, and really a lot of it is also from the text. You start with the text, you understand who the character is from the facts, what other people say about them, what they say about themselves, what their wants, needs, and obstacles are, what their super objective is. And you just start doing this and you pull in all these ideas, as many as possible, some of which you then push away because they don't really work, or some physical things you start trying. The stuff that works, you keep. The stuff that doesn't work, you throw away. And it's just a constant shaping and molding until you have something that you feel is really right. The director obviously has an input, the writer has an input, and then you start playing once you've all sort of agreed on, okay, this is a good shape.
Yeah.
For the character, I didn't think that the Japanese executives were going to go for my accent. I did, and because Steve was like, "I'm not sure about the accent," and I was like, "Oh, come on, it's great. Oh, it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be great." And he was like, "I'm not sure." And then the Japanese executives heard it, and they were like, "It's great." And he was like, he came up to me and went, like it. I was like, yes! It's weird. It's
I told you.
strange and weird, but I told you we work. I told you we work. So, things like that. I think there's no right or wrong way to start exploring character, but I think there are better ways. And I think ultimately it's the script first. You look at the script, look at the artwork, because usually in games they have a concept art for the character, very strongly. That's where you start, and then you start pulling in things from your own craft and methodology, your own research into the period, into the world. If there is something to research in that way, then you start looking for substitutions, things that are like it, other inspirations. I look to music, I look to culture, I look to history, I look to people that I know in my life, people in famous life, all that kind of stuff. I start just pulling everything.
Yeah.
And often inspiration comes from the weirdest, wildest, wackiest places. But I'm pretty open to all that. So I think if you're open, then inspiration sometimes takes you, and it can be quite cool.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. I really enjoyed both of the characters, Carl and even Astarion. It's just so amazing, and I think I would like to end up with just something that I started actually in the last episode when I was talking to Devora, and it's like just some 5 random questions that I would like to ask you. All right, so what's is there a song that you will never be bored of listening to?
Me personally, or
Yeah,
Astarion? Because
you.
I don't answer personal questions.
Oh,
Not for me, but for Astarion, if that's okay.
okay,
Because I like my private life to be quite
makes
private,
sense.
actually, if that's okay. I think Astarion. I tell you what, I'll do you one better. I can't answer that specifically, but I will tell you that Astarion has a playlist on Spotify.
Yeah.
It's 102 songs long, and it's titled Astarion. So if you want to find it, you'll see some of the songs that I referenced. Whilst I was playing him in different scenes and to create the character as well. It's the oldie fantasy Spotify, and there's
Oh man.
100 songs on there. He likes things. He would like things like the Doors or David Bowie or things like that. I think it's his jam.
That's great. If it's case of Astarion, then is with Astarion would be liking a movie or some certain movie that like maybe Astarion would able to recommend to anybody? Do you think is there something in his mind?
Hmm. Um, Something like Less Than Zero would probably tickle him. If you know what I mean, if you know that movie, yeah, Less
Yeah,
Than Zero would probably appeal to him. The nihilistic element of
yeah.
the doomed, I think that kind of thing. 6 Degrees of Separation, perhaps something like that. I think he would find quite fun. Yeah, something like that.
That's awesome. If you had the possibility to develop a video game, then
Oh,
what
develop
genre?
myself. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, sure. Oh God, it would just definitely be RPG.
Wow.
Role play games. Don't know what genre. I mean, I like space stuff. I directed a space game last year called
Yeah.
Everest Mars. I've been in high fantasy games a lot. Sci-fi, I love high fantasy. I don't really care. I think definitely more like RPG and some kind of sci-fi world would be great to be able to develop something like that. I also like cowboys. Like
Yeah.
I'd like to like Red Dead Redemption 2 is definitely my bag.
Hmm.
I'd love to play a cowboy. I'd love to develop a game with cowboys, but it's been done so well. I don't think I do justice. Space Cowboys. There you go.
Space
Space
Cowboys.
Cowboys.
Yep.
That's what it is.
That's it. That's the
Yeah.
one.
There you go. That's the one. That's the next one. Space Cowboys would be great. Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. In I think in what do you think at this point? Like that, we have a lot of talks about aliens. Do you think personally that like aliens are something that's real?
Yeah, totally. I don't think we'll ever meet them.
Oh,
I don't think we'll ever meet them, but I think they're real. I just don't. Why would they come here? We're completely screwing our planet over so badly. We're not in harmony with us. There's one race on the planet, it's human, and we're doing a very bad job of looking after each other. Why would they come here? It's like there are better places to visit in the universe, no doubt. Yes, of course. I think intelligent life probably exists all over the place in the growing universe.
Yeah.
It's a question of whether we'll all meet each other at the right time, I think, and probably timing and distance is the thing.
Yeah.
So I think it's highly unlikely other life will meet us or each other, which sucks because that would be awesome. But I don't think aliens are here necessarily, because why would they be here? Like this is a nightmare situation at the moment, and we hope that human nature, which many good things come out of humanity, and there are many beautiful experiences together in communities, but we also do a lot of really dumb stuff, and I just think that they'd be like. The aliens will be like, oh, these humans, they're so cool and so awful at the same time. It's a nightmare. I don't know. I think alien life exists somewhere. Yeah, sure. Well, it absolutely does, yeah.
Well, I would say thank you so much for taking the time, talking to me about the game, the character. It's just such a fun time playing the game. It's just, I'm still trying to play it. I'm the one who's not into D&D, so I'm just taking my great long amount of time to figure things out, but I'm trying to figure things out, trying to get there. But like, a lot of people are having so much fun, and a lot of people are just exploring these characters. So yeah, thank you so much for taking the time, taking the opportunity to talk to me.
No problem at all. No, it's really nice to meet you, and thank you very much for asking as well. And yeah, I'm glad you're having a good time.